Kopidana Vallabha Girivardhari Yasodhanandana Bradadana Ranjana Yasodhanandana Bradadana Ranjana Yamunatira Vanachari Yamunatira Vanachari Jayo Radha Madhavo Kunja Vihari Gopidana Vallabha Girivardhari Yasodhanandana Bradadana Ranjana Yamunatira Vanachari Jayo Radha Madhavo Kunja Vihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Shri Harinam Sankirtan ki Srila Prabhupada ki Gaur Premanandi Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, 1st Canto, 18th chapter, Maharaj Parikshit cursed by a Brahmin boy, text number 2. Brahma kopo titadyastu Brahma kopo titadyastu Takshakat pranaviplavat Takshakat pranaviplavat Nasammu mohuru bhayat Nasammu mohoru bhayat Bhagavati arpitashayah Bhagavati arpitashayah Brahma kopotitadyastu Takshakat pranaviplavat Nasammu mohoru bhayat Bhagavati arpitashayah Brahma kopotitadyastu Takshakat pranaviplavat Nasammu mohoru bhayat Bhagavati arpitashayah Brahma kopotitadyastu Takshakat pranaviplavat Nasammu mohoru bhayat Brahma kopotitadyastu Takshakat pranaviplava Nasammu mohoru bhayat Bhagavatyarpita shayaha. Ladies. Brahma kopotitadyastu takshakat pranaviplavat nasammohorubhaya Bhagavati arpita shayaha. Una más. Brahmakopa, fury of a Brahman. Utitat, caused by. Yaha, what was. To, but. Takshakat, by the snake bird. Prana viplavat, from dissolution of life. Na, never. Samumoha, was overwhelmed. Urubhayat, great fear. Bhagavati, unto the personality of Godhead. Arpita, surrendered. Ashayaha, consciousness. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, Srila Prabhupada ki. Yeah. Furthermore, Maharaj Parikshit was always consciously surrendered to the personality of Godhead, and therefore he was neither afraid nor overwhelmed by fear due to a snake bird, which was to bite him because of the fury of a Brahmin boy. Purport. A self-surrendered devotee of the Lord is called Narayana Parayana. Such a person is never afraid of any place or person, not even of death. For him, nothing is as important as the Supreme Lord, and thus he gives equal importance to heaven and hell. He knows well that both heaven and hell are creations of the Lord, and similarly life and death are different conditions of existence created by the Lord. But in all conditions and in all circumstances, remembrance of Narayan is essential. The Narayana Parayana practices this constantly. Maharaj Parikshit was such a pure devotee. He was wrongfully cursed by an inexperienced son of a Brahmin who was under the influence of Kali. And Maharaj Parikshit took this to be sent by Narayan. He knew that Narayan, Lord Krishna, had saved him when he was burned in the womb of his mother. And if he were to be killed by a snake bite, it would also take place by the will of the Lord. The devotee never goes against the will of the Lord. Anything sent by God is a blessing for the devotee. Therefore, Maharaj Parikshit was neither afraid of nor bewildered by such things. That is the sign of a pure devotee of the Lord. Brahma kopotitadyastu takshakat pranaviplavat nasammumohoru bhayat bhagavati arpita shayoho. Furthermore, Maharaj Parikshit was always consciously surrendered to the personality of Godhead, and therefore he was neither afraid nor overwhelmed by fear due to a snake bird, which was to bite him because of the fury of a Brahmin boy. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Jena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kiramhayam Dadati Svapadantikam Jayasi Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Giradhar Shivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Mukam karoti vachalam pangum langayate girim yat kripadamaham vande Sri Guru Dinataranam Paramananda Madhavam Sri Chaitanya Ishwaram Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripasindubhyevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Hare Krishna. So here Sutta Goswami is describing Maharaj Parikshit's full surrender to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He says he consciously surrendered. It wasn't a mechanical thing. Sometimes we just go through the motions. We do things mechanically. Have you noticed? And if someone were to ask you, what did you read yesterday? The mind would be blank. Has this ever happened to you? Or is it just me? Not just yesterday, sometimes right after you read it. So Srila Prabhupada said that to remember means to write it down. So you're allowed to take notes. Of course, those of you who are Naishtiki brahmacharis and have photographic memory, then that will solve that problem. But for the rest of the mortals, it is good to write it down. And formerly, this Vedic wisdom was transmitted, Shabda Brahma. It was just spoken. It was an oral tradition. But since the memory of people decreased, it had to be written down. So we're very fortunate that these literatures have been written down and codified and transmitted in that way. Because there's so many other traditions which are based on hearsay, that somebody heard from somebody who got struck by lightning or saw some miracle. And yes, there is some message, there is some truth in that. Yet here we have the Srimad Bhagavatam in its entirety, and that is wonderful. That is wonderful. So Parikshit, he was welcoming this news of being bitten by a snake bird, and he took it as a blessing of the Lord. Just as he had been touched by the blessing of the Lord when he was saved from destruction in the womb of his mother. So, in a similar way, he saw this as a sign of the Lord. Very interesting sentence here at the end of the purport, when Srila Prabhupada says, the devotee never goes against the will of the Lord. Anything sent by God is a blessing for the devotee. Therefore, Maharaj Parikshit was neither afraid of nor bewildered by such things. That is the sign of a pure devotee of the Lord. So if you want to know if you're a pure devotee of the Lord, see how you react in adverse circumstances. Tate nukampam susamikshamana bunjana evatma kritam vipakam ridvagva babir vidadan namaste jiveti o mukti pade sadaya bhak. 10-14-8. If you want to get a tattoo, 10-14-8. What is 423? Is it your PIN code or? So 10-14-8, very important for the devotees to meditate upon, because in this world there will be adverse circumstances. There will be earthquakes, tornadoes, hurricanes, floods, pestilence, war, and struggle and strife, and then some. It is not a question of if, it is only a question of when. So, the devotee takes those as God sent to remind him of the temporary nature of this world, and to also remind him of the all-merciful nature of the Supreme Lord, who is always there, ready to give shelter to his pure devotees. Srila Prabhupada was one time asked, what is hell? By a reporter, and Srila Prabhupada said, London is hell. And the reporter was a little startled. He was a little perplexed. But then Srila Prabhupada added, but it is to the great credit of the British people that they have created such a magnificent civilization in such a hostile climate. So Prabhupada knew how to deliver the message, but then to deliver it in a sweet way, so that the person was actually inspired and charmed. Sometimes we think we have to preach strongly in the name of Srila Prabhupada, and we beat them over the head with the book. And you can get into trouble for that. We have seen devotees. In Germany, there was previously a devotee, just recently, who thought that even if the person doesn't want to take the book, at least let me hit them over the head with the book. Because in this way, they will get benefited by the contact with the Srimad Bhagavatam. But it was not such a beneficial experience after all. Not for that person, not for the devotees, and not for the future devotees who want to go and distribute books in that city. So we have to be conscious how we move in this world. People don't listen very well, but they watch very closely. So we should preach all the time, and sometimes we should also speak whenever that moment arises where it is necessary to speak. Yesterday we went out to the Shibit Books. What was the name of that place?
Liverpool Street.
Liverpool Street. And a young boy and a young girl, they came walking up to me, and they said they're from Milan, Italy. And we had a very nice conversation, and I asked them, which part of Milan they were from. And they were very close from the Piazza del Duomo, from the main square in front of the dome, where the devotees do Harinam regularly. And the girl said that when I was small, my parents weren't into it, but I was always, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. That was me, like right from small. And she was just naturally drawn towards the devotees. She was naturally attracted. You could see this is not from this lifetime. There has been more to it, to the story, because she had no seemingly previous exposure. He was just mesmerized by the kirtan. And we have seen plenty of such examples. So Narayana Paraksarve Nakutas Pibhyati Svarga Pavarga Narakeshu Api Tulyartha Darshana. Chitraketu Maharaj, when he got cursed by Parvati to take on a demoniac birth, for him it was not a difficulty, in the sense that he was always fully absorbed in Narayan. He was always in union with Narayan. There's a saying, Ante Narayana Smriti, you should remember Narayan at the time of death. Now, how do you do that? How do you do that? How do you make sure that you get in under the wire? How do you make sure that in that last moment you're actually there? You're actually consciously surrendering to the Lord. How to do that? Any idea?
Practicing your whole life.
Practicing your whole life. Because that moment could be any moment. You don't know. There's no guarantee. Have you found your expiration date? No, it's not in our power. But if we learn the art of consciously surrendering to Narayan every moment, then when that moment comes, it's not that big of a deal. It is like lightning and thunder striking simultaneously. And you just move on to the next body. You just move on to the next situation. Hopefully, a better birth. Hopefully, a spiritual body. But it is in the hands of the Lord. It is not our choice. It is outside of our domain to decide. Being here in London, I just remember Bali. How many of you know Bali? Bali was born in Nigeria, and he came to London to study MBA. His father was the finance minister of Nigeria. He was a big guy, because unlike in ISKCON, ministers are people who run governments. Whereas in ISKCON, if you become a minister, it's more like a Boy Scout badge, and like a recognition for, certain capacity. So Bali's father was not very amused when his son became a monk. Quite the contrary. He told him, if you don't give up this business, then I will cut you out of the will. I will erase you from our family heritage. Talking about Sadhya Bhak. Krishna says that I become the property of those who don't claim anything in this world. If you're a kinchana, if you're not claiming proprietorship, Krishna says, I'll become your property. That's pretty cool, right? Would you like to have Krishna as your property?
Yes.
Now, some people think I'm Krishna's property, and some say, no, Krishna is my property. And Bali was just a happy devotee, just engaging in Krishna consciousness and spreading Krishna consciousness, much to the despair of his parents. But then, as time goes on, his father got old and his father got sick. And nobody of his family members wanted to have anything to do with him, because he was a tyrant. Because ministers usually get their way, especially in such type of governments. So everybody abandoned him. Everybody avoided him, except Bali. Bali went back and took care of his dad. And he served his dad. And he stayed with his dad till his dad passed away. And his dad left him a few cashew factories in Brazil and a few other things. So then later on, Bali, with the fortune that he inherited, he sponsored the Sankirtan movement of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And he bought buses for devotees who went out on Harinam. He paid wages for householders who wanted to engage full-time in Harinam Sankirtan. And he did a lot. He brought instruments, mridangas and kartals for Sankirtan parties all over the world. And he actively supported the Sankirtan movement in a tremendous way. And how did it happen? London, Harinam Sankirtan, Ki Jai. The whole world is here. You don't know who's watching you. You don't know who you're talking to. They're all out there. They're all out there getting their MBAs, getting their masters, getting their PhDs. Universities all around the world have been built and have become prosperous by the endowment, the trust funds that have been set up by their alumni, by people who went to those schools and made it big in the world and then gave back to their school. So, we're very young. We're a very young society, 50 years in. We're not there yet. Yet this is good to remember that whoever I'm meeting, how can I leave them with a positive impression? So Parikshit, he was always consciously surrendered to Narayan. He was never afraid. Brahma bhuta prasanatma na shochati na kangshati samaksarveshu bhuteshu mat bhaktim labate param. No hankering, no lamentation. That is Brahma bhuta. Not hankering about the past. Oh, I lost. Oh, I had so much opportunity. But then I surrendered to Krishna. And it was all for naught. Jai, Shri Shri Jagannath Baladev Subhadra Devi, Shri Shri Radha Landan Ishwar, Shri Shri Gornitai Ki Jai. And no hankering. Oh, I wish I could. Oh, I wish I had this or that or the other opportunity. Have you ever caught yourself hankering or lamenting? Has this ever happened to you?
Yes.
Thank you for your honesty. One time I was in Mayapur, and one student, he had an iPod Nano, you know, those little things. And I thought, wow, I was just a glance. And the next day, my friend Brahma Muhurta from Sweden, from the BBT, came and gave me a gift. And what was inside? An iPod Nano. And it had engraved BBT and my name. And I thought, oh, how wonderful. How Krishna is fulfilling all my desires. And on second thought, I was thinking, what an idiot. Why do I keep on desiring things here in this world? Because it will keep me here in this world. Now, of course, I was listening Prabhupada's lectures, and that was the best use. At the same time, we have to be conscious. We have to be conscious. If you're not conscious, you can't be Krishna conscious. So are we conscious? Are we aware? Parikshit was constantly aware of Krishna. So when the message came that it was time to close up shop, he took it as Krishna's blessing. He saw that this is a sign. This is the plan of the Lord. And I want to be fully aligned with the plan of the Lord. I do not have any desire except being part of Krishna's plan. What a wonderful mindset. What a wonderful mentality. In this way, Krishna can guide his pure devotees, and he can teach through his pure devotees. And they're happy to serve in any position. Like Chitraketu, he was flying high. He was flying high in more than one ways. Flying high as the king of the Vidyadharas. He had a spaceship that was, I'm not going to even tell you what was in that spaceship because you may get ideas. But he was flying high, let's put it that way. And he had a lot of very beautiful associates. Yet somehow, by Krishna's plan, his destiny was changed. But he was happy to go along with Krishna's plan. He was happy to serve in whichever capacity. Oh, you want me to take on a demon's body and fight Indra? Yes, I can do that. And he was very enthusiastic in his service. So much so that even when both his arms were cut off by the thunderbolt of Indra, he expanded himself and he swallowed Indra. What a warrior. What an enthusiasm. Never giving up the fight. And then he thought, okay, my service is done. I've swallowed Indra. I did what I came for. And he went into samadhi. He went into ecstasy. And Indra cut himself out of Vritrasura's body. He cut open the belly. And then with his Vajra, with his thunderbolt, he tried to cut off Vritrasura's head. And it took him 1 year to cut off Vritrasura's head. Because Vritrasura was in ecstasy, and his entire body went into ecstasy. So it took him 1 year. And after that, we know there was a lot of other events that were happening. But he was happy to play that role. So, which role are you happy to play for Krishna? Sometimes we have very limited conditional surrender. And we say, yes, I can give the class. I will show up for class. But for other things, don't push your luck. What are we doing all day? We're chanting. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. What does that mean? I need help. I need service. And also praying for grace. And grace comes in the way of service. And then devotees come and say, Prabhu, can you go on Harinam? Oh no, I'm a little busy right now. Prabhu, would you like to clean the bathroom? Oh no, I can't do that. That is below my pay grade. So, and Narayana Parayana is a person who is willing to serve in any capacity to please the Lord and to please the devotees. Just like we heard of Jayananda Prabhu, who was the temple president in San Francisco. He was also driving a cab, a taxi, to pay for the rent. And he was also the one who took out the garbage. He was also the one who fixed the cars. He was the one who built the rot cart. And his enthusiasm was so contagious that he just picked people off the street, like Jayapataka Swami. He just picked him off the street and said, can you hold this nail? And that boy said, yeah, sure, I can hold a nail. And can you hammer this nail into this plank? He said, yes, I can do that. And then he handed him another nail, and another nail. And then he brought him prasadam. And then he started talking with him, till that boy said, well, this is my tribe. These are my people. I'm staying. As Jayadvaita Maharaj once told me in New York, when he came in, we were in 26th Avenue, the original place where it all began. And there was a katha talk going on. I was sitting in the back, and Jayadvaita Maharaj came in, and he looked at me and he smiled, and he went, love and peace. And I thought it was very, symbolic for that place. And later on, we had a chat, we had a heart-to-heart, and Maharaj told me, I am not leaving. I came here first. So devotee is a person who is determined, who is steady, who is aligned himself with the will of the Lord. And even if the will of the Lord sometimes may look like not so advantageous for his own personal sense gratification, if it is the will of the Lord, he's happy to serve in whatever capacity that is. So here we hear about Maharaj Parikshit's surrender. And it was a voluntary, a conscious surrender. We may say, well, he didn't have any other choice. He didn't have any other option. No, certainly he did. He was such a powerful devotee, he could have just counter-cursed that boy and said, okay, I just turn it around. You throw something at me, tit for tat. I'll throw something at you. And it will neutralize or, override your curse. But no, he was seeing this as Krishna's blessings. Can you see reversals in your life as Krishna's blessing? Can you do that? Not quite yet. Speaking for myself, not quite yet. But it is an acquired taste. I was praying this prayer. Tate nukampam susamikshamana. No, not that one. No, not that one. Vipadashantu takshashva tatra tatra jagadguru bhavato darshanam yatsyat apunar bhavadarshanam. You know that prayer? Kunti Maharani? Let calamities come again and again, because in times of calamities, Krishna was always with us. He was with us in the forest. He was with us when we are under attack. He was with us when we are being persecuted by the others. But now that we are one and we're the emperors, now Krishna is leaving us. Not let the good times roll, let the bad times come back. Because in the bad times, Krishna is very much present. So I was praying this prayer as a standard routine, my daily prayers. You know that book, My Daily Prayers? Beautiful book. So, but then what happened? Calamities came again and again. And I had to decide that I think I'm going to take a little break with that prayer. I'll put that, in the icebox, just for now. Whenever, mechanically, I'm tempted to I say, no, not right now. I still got enough homework to do. I still have enough to chew on whatever mercy the Lord has given me. So, but a pure devotee is not seeing reversals or beneficial situations as something to get excited or get depressed about. A pure devotee is willing to be an instrument of Krishna's plan. As Srila Prabhupada was praying on the Jaladuta, I don't know why you have brought me to this degraded place, but I'm sure you have a plan. Please, make me dance, make me dance. A dancer or an actor does not have a plan of his own. He is acting according to the direction of the director of the theater or the conductor of the orchestra. Are we aligned with the Lord's plan? Or are we trying to impose our own plan for control? It is nice to talk about love and trust. Have you heard about love and trust? And it looks like a nice t-shirt, a nice calendar quote, right? Love and trust, love and trust. But then, in reality, is it about liability and so on? So we have to see. Sometimes it is like just a slogan. We just say, yeah, I'm surrendered to Krishna. But how much am I surrendered to Krishna? There are precursors, there are stages. First of all, we have to be conscious before we're Krishna conscious. Now I know we had a late night shift. Yes, night. There was a program. Yet we have to stay conscious. Otherwise that moment comes and we may have missed it. It may be the moment of ecstasy. It may be the moment of your death and you may have missed it. What a bummer. Can you imagine? All that prepping, all that work, all that struggle, and then, I missed my own death. What a disappointment. Try better next time. So, before having love and trust, there has to be open communication. Like here we see Maharaj Parikshit and Shukadeva Goswami, Sutta Goswami, and the sages. There is questions and answers. There's sharing of hearts. There's open communication going on. This is Satam Prasanga Mamavirya Samvido Bhavanti Hritkarana Rasayana Kata Tajjoshanat Ashwa Pavargavartmani Shraddha Ratir Bhaktir Anukramishyati. That bhakti is actually building in stages from Shraddha, from a little bit of faith. Yeah, these are nice people. These are nice people. I want to be with these people. These are my people. These are stages of faith. Rati, there is attraction, there is taste, then there is virakti, there is detachment from material things, and so on, till there is actually the solidified manifestation and embodiment of Krishna's mercy. So, and it starts with hearing and chanting in the association of devotees. So we can't have selective hearing. Sometimes we're just looking for something that will validate my preconceived notions. Have you noticed that we go into life with some clear plan, some clear idea, and then we're just looking for validation. We're just looking for arguments and things that will substantiate our case. But that's not really how you should go about it. If you want to be scientific, you have to have an open mind and actually take in good guidance and good instructions in an unbiased way, as Maharaj Parikshit is doing it here. He could say, I'm the emperor, I'm the ruler, I decide not to die in 7 days. I will stay at the GBC. I will not give up my post. Have you ever heard this? Have you ever seen this before? I don't like to give up my post. Do you like change? Who likes change here? Only a wet baby likes change. Nobody else likes change. We like our comfort zone, right? We think like, this is pretty nice, you know? Yeah, I should get one of those for home, you know, or for the van. But we're only here for a very short time. So we need satsanga. What does that mean, satsang? It means truthful association. It means sadhus who actually tell you what you need to hear in order to become more aligned with Krishna's plan. And that's what Parikshit was ready to do. Even though he was fully aligned with Krishna's plan, he was happy to be instrumental, to play the role, to show us as Acharya how to lead our lives fully in cohesion with Krishna's plan. And thus, he was instrumental for the Bhagavatam to be spoken. And when there is open communication, the next thing, the next level up, the next stage, in case you're taking notes, will be cooperation. Will be cooperation. Oh yes, okay, let us work together. Just like we are here in London, one of the busiest and most cosmopolitan cities in the world. And there is plenty of opportunities to share in Krishna consciousness because the world is here. So there's every demographic. And right now, for the most part, we're invisible. We're invisible to the vast majority of the population because it's a big, big city and there's a lot of people and we're very few. So we have to cooperate and make plans how we can expand Krishna consciousness in a systematic way in our city, in our region, and in our country. Where is our national strategy? It's not just, I'm fine. I'm the best of the book distributors of Soho Street. Well, here you might be the best. In other places, you might be the last. So, then when you have cooperation and you're serving together through thick and thin, you're in the trenches, showing up for the morning program, showing up for book distribution, showing up for service, whatever it might be, showing up for Harinam, then, believe it or not, at some point, you will develop love and trust with the devotees that you're serving along with. Sounds nice, right? Sounds nice. Like, why am I here in London now? Because I trust Adiguru. Because we go way back. We grew up in the same sandbox. Different parts of the sandbox, but we met, occasionally. And because when you're serving together, shoulder to shoulder, back to back, then you develop trust that this person is for real. This is not a fair weather devotee who just shows up when the cameras are out, when the party is on and the cakes are there. But someone who shows up Monday morning for the cleanup. Show up Monday morning and you'll meet the core team. That's who you're going to meet Monday morning. So That is Parikshit Maharaj. He wasn't just there for the celebration. He was also there when the tough love came down. And he was willing to take it in strike. He was willing to take it as a blessing. He was willing to take it as the Lord's mercy. And thus, Mukti Pade Sadayabhak. Liberation became his rightful claim. What do you have to do to inherit the property of your ancestors? You have to stay alive, yes. So we have to stay alive in Krishna consciousness. We have seen many people come. And I used to come here every year. And usually after a year or 18 months, more than 90% of the population of this temple had changed. The only person who I knew was the head pujari and the temple president. And they're also not here now. So, a lot of change, a lot of turnover. So, we are embarking on this lifetime project. We're aiming for the lifetime award of Mukti Pade Sadayabhak. That is our aspiration. That is our prayer. That is our plan. How to align ourselves with Krishna's plan, with Krishna's mercy, so that whenever that moment happens, it won't be that big of a deal. You've heard of the concept of dying before dying? Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj spoke a lot about that. It's called the preemptive strike. Once you already died, you can't die again because you already died. Your false ego already died. So every time you go on the street and you say, "Excuse me, sir, do you have a moment?" It may change your destiny. And that person ignores you and walk away. And you think, "Ooh, another one. Oh no, how terrible, how terrible." Part of your false ego has died. But it is a big mountain, a mountain like the Himalayan mountain, the false ego. And it is a big mountain to climb. Yet this is the real marathon. This is the real lifetime achievement award. Whether for former or current or future incarnations of Bhukti Sibhushan or of whatever service that you are performing. So we should not become self-absorbed. We should not think that I am expert. I am, my spiritual master is the best spiritual master. Why? Because he has the best disciple. Hint, hint. Why is he the best spiritual master? Why is the country of your birth worshipable? What's the verse? Yasyatma buddhi kunape tridatuke svati. Bhauma Ichadi is there, yeah, definitely. That happens when you're low on RAM, Not enough RAM, not enough RAM. Then, that's what happens when you skip dinner. So, Krishna gives you knowledge, remembrance, and forgetfulness. Why forgetfulness? One time, Mother Yamuna, the original Yamuna, asked His Holiness Tamal Krishna Maharaj, Maharaj, there's a lot of people who are upset with you, and especially ladies. And he said, if I would have to remember all the things that I did and said, I would die right now. And my purport to this is that she took this as an apology, and she was satisfied by that. So, it is sometimes easy to do this service in the name of service. We have to be conscious. We have to be conscious. Because bhakti is the path of grace. And it is easy to step on other people's toes or sikas. Because everyone is sensitive in a different part of the body. But we can see that, like His Holiness Tamal Krishna Maharaj was part of the team who spread Sankirtan all over the world, who was fully empowered by Srila Prabhupada, and thus, he was called to do impossible tasks. They could not get land in Mayapur. It was impossible. There was too many obstacles. There was too much politics. There was too many snags, things that didn't work out. So Prabhupada sent him, and he got it done. He got it done. And Prabhupada waited for him in Calcutta. His light was still on. And he came and he said, yes, Prabhupada, it is done. And Prabhupada was very happy because he got the job done. So, sometimes doing what needs doing is not a nice man's job. Just like here, Parikshit. He has to take this tough notice and prepare to wrap up his life within a week. He's the emperor of the world. He's young. He is unlimitedly powerful and unlimitedly opulent. Yet he just decides that this is an opportunity to be part of Krishna's plan. And enthusiastically, he does not look back. He just walks and sits down on the riverbank and says, I'm ready to face whatever it is that Krishna wants me to face. And then somehow, without internet, without any other external arrangement, all the sages, they appear and they all converge in that place. And they're puzzled. Who should instruct the king? Because he's not an ordinary king. He's the emperor. And he is a great devotee. So who is qualified to speak to him? And they're puzzled. But because they are surrendered to Krishna's plan, they know Krishna will reveal it. Krishna will manifest it. And all of a sudden, out of the forest, a 16-year-old naked boy comes walking in to the assembly. And he's only 16 years old. And he sits down on the Vyasasan and he speaks the Bhagavatam to Maharaj Parikshit. Meanwhile, his father is there, his guru is there, sages are there who are param 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 gurus who are there. And they're all happy that Shukadev is speaking the Bhagavatam to Parikshit. There is no insecurity, there is no territorialism, there is no one hugging the mic, but everyone is aligned with Krishna's plan. How can we be part of manifesting Krishna's will in this world? So we're very fortunate that we have this unique opportunity to take part in the Sankirtan movement of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Srila Prabhupada said, I have given you the framework, you fill in the details. Prabhupada gave us principles, and he expected us to fill in the details. He said, details will vary according to time, place, and circumstance. And Krishna will give you the intelligence how to adjust the details. But don't compromise on the principles. One time he called all his leaders in Mayapur and he asked his GBC men one question: are you convinced? Now if your guru asks you, are you convinced? What do you answer? Are you convinced? And he asked a second time, are you convinced? And the third time he was almost shouting at them, are you convinced? You can't fake it in front of your guru. He will see right through you. Huh? And then Prabhupada said, because if you are not convinced, how are you going to convince anyone? Huh? So how much are we convinced that Krishna's plan is not just good for the good of the world, but Krishna's plan is also good for this little scruffy dog? Huh? How can we be convinced of that? By the blessings of the Vaishnavas, by dying before dying and having these moments of experiencing Krishna's grace and Krishna's presence and Krishna's empowerment in our service. And for that, it is imperative that each and every member of the Krishna conscious movement takes part in the Sankirtan mission of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So that we have that experience that yes, Krishna is doing the magic. And he likes to do the magic through his devotees. And it is the most wonderful, the most empowering, the most inspiring experience that we can have in life. When you see Krishna manifesting, even through us. So we're all here because some sadhu was dropping some nectar on our head. Huh? Do you notice? You can see, you can touch here. You see that there's a little dent here. You feel that dent? That's where the nectar is dropping on your head. Because steady drops of nectar wear away the false ego. So are you in touch with the sadhus? And are you availing yourselves of those nectar drops? What are those nectar drops? It is the instructions. It is their realizations that they have left for us in the Bhagavatam. And we are blessed that Srila Prabhupada has given us this greatest of gifts, Golokera Premadana, Harinama Sankirtan. So we're grateful to Bali. We're grateful to His Holiness Tamal Krishna Maharaj and Jamuna Devi and Shamasundar and Guru Das and all the others, countless devotees who have surrendered and who have pioneered, who have shed blood, gallons of blood, to create this wonderful opportunity for us to practice and share Krishna consciousness. So as a little token of gratitude, let us join our hearts and our hands to spread this movement, to make them proud. One time Srila Prabhupada was in a train going through Delhi. It was very early on. There wasn't any centers in Delhi, and the train stopped in Delhi station. And one friend, one sympathizer, he came on the train and he said, Swamiji, we have to have a center in Delhi. And Prabhupada looked at him, as he always looked at people who came to bring feedback and suggestions. And he said, so you will help? And the man said, yes, I will help. So Prabhupada looked around the train compartments and there was about a dozen devotees. And he said, you, and you, get off the train. Start a center in Delhi. And he gave them 50 rupees loan, not donation, loan, to start a center in Delhi. Now, when you're with your Gurudev, are you ready to be sent? To be sent to the end of the world? You think, no. I don't want that kind of mercy. I want Mahaprasad. I want to be close to Gurudev. Well, how closer can you be to Gurudev than being empowered by his instructions and going out and carrying out his duty, his service? That is the closest. Srila Prabhupada writes in Chaitanya Charitamrita that devotional service bhakti is the most congenial form of intimacy. You want to be intimate with your spiritual master? This is the way how to be intimate. It's not about physical proximity. Srila Prabhupada saw his Gurudev maybe a dozen times. But he said, even though he has left the world many years ago, he's right behind me, guiding me, giving me good instructions, giving me good direction. Why? Unity of purpose. Unity of purpose and mission. So this is what we see here in Maharaj Parikshit's example. He knew Krishna's plan and he was happy and willing and able to play his role in Krishna's plan. And thus, he's part of this grand epic teachings, Srimad Bhagavatam. Hari Om Tat Sat. Any questions, comments, or reflections? Yes, Adi Guru Prabhu, and then Abdullah and Dhirodatta.
It's not very... So we see, like in the case of Yamuna, she was a very wonderful, unbelievably wonderful devotee, but she did get the brunt of some politics, internals, the institution, and she went and did her own thing, did her own bhajan, and helped other generations in her own way. So, is there any case where things go bad and we shouldn't take it as Krishna's will? We should fight back, stand our ground, or not just to take it and go away, or we should, you know what I mean?
Yes, I know what you mean. You're making perfect sense. I hear you and I feel you, as they say in California. It depends from where and from whom it comes and in which way it comes. So it's case by case. Huh? Sometimes devotees think, yeah, well, he pushed me, so, I had to retaliate. Just like Prataparudra Maharaj wanted to see Lord Chaitanya dance, and there was Srivas Thakur just in ecstasy in front of him. And the assistants of Prataparudra Maharaj, he tapped Srivas Thakur on the shoulder and he wanted him to move so that the king can have darshan. And Srivas got annoyed at one point and turned around and slapped him. And he wanted to retaliate. And Prataparudra caught him by the hand and said, you have been blessed by the touch of Srivas Thakur. So we should never retaliate against seniors and superiors and more advanced devotees. At the same time, we should not be the doormat that we will just allow ourselves to be abused and exploited. So you have to use your common sense and your God-given intelligence. But we have this verse also in the Bhagavatam, just now coming up, sneak preview, that a devotee, even though mistreated, even though abused, even though injured or killed, will not retaliate. Just now coming on this channel. Stay tuned. So, but then again, we have to be able to contextualize it. This is not a carte blanche, for abuse and for all of that. So then, yes, we have to speak out and we have to make proper precautions and address things. But then when you see, like Prabhupada says, you try everything to preserve your body, try everything to preserve health, but there will be a point where it is just not possible anymore. Then you have to accept it as Krishna's plan. But if somebody says, Prabhu, this was not so cool, and then you fight back, when you get feedback, and you think like, yeah, it's my duty to settle the score. That's not Krishna's plan. So we should be conscious of Krishna in every situation. And as Mother Jamuna made her offering, so hopefully will each and every one of us make our offering. But it won't be easy. We will have those Vidura moments, where you put your bow on the doorstep and you go for a long japa walk. He went for 20 years. And after 20 years, he came back. And he gave one speech, one talk to his older brother. And then, with his older brother, he walked to the Himalayas. And he never came back. So, Krishna has a plan. But I have to become purified to be part of Krishna's plan. And how to be part of... It's kind of Achintya Bheda Bheda Tattva, how to be a part of the institution, but at the same time retain my sanity and retain my functionality and my individuality. That is sometimes Achintya Bheda Bheda Tattva. But Achintya Kaloye Bhava Tangstarkena Nayojayet. That's all seeming contradictions become reconciled in the all-merciful and wonderful nature, the unlimited nature of Krishna. So it seems like contrary, right? I'm a free spirit. I want to be a spiritual person and living a spiritual life and expand and fulfill my potential. And then there is this institution with rules and with boundaries and with schedules and timelines. But Krishna can make it happen. He always does. I don't know if this satisfies your question, but that's as much as I can share before breakfast. Abdullah.
Well, thank you for the wonderful class. My head is running with different questions and reflections. I don't even know where to start, but I'll try and pick one. So, in meeting my Guru Maharaj, I was enthusiastic and happy, and until this day I'll never forget the moments of finding and surrendering to my Guru Maharaj. But I think the concept of surrendering fully, I don't understand yet. Because spiritual master is very expert at knowing when disciple is fully surrendered. And if they're not fully surrendered, they might have them feel as if they are and encourage them in that way. So how do we know when we're fully surrendered, or more so, how can we start to fully surrender to our Guru so he can give us the next steps to fulfill?
Well, it takes one to know one, but when you're there, you know, and you won't write postcards and take selfies, but you will, when you're in the zone, you're there. And it's, you know, it will manifest in different ways. Like Madhavacharya said that it will manifest, you will become very steady in the performance of your devotional service. It won't be the roller coaster that, yeah, sometimes I show up, sometimes I don't show up, you know, it's kind of like nilly-willy, whichever way. And Mukhya Prasad. Mukhya Prasad means sweet speech. That whatever comes from your mouth is actually pleasing. People will go, wow, okay, that's a nice way how to put it. That sounds inspiring. Just like we're trying to do outreach, right? What's the goal of the outreach? Selling books, raising funds? Our only goal is how to attract people to Krishna. And their only question should be, how can I become like you? I want more of this. So that is the goal of our outreach, that people want to meet us again. That is the criteria. So you will notice, it will be palpable. You will notice. Krishna Shakti Vinanahitara Pravartan. This Sankirtan movement is spread through Krishna's potency. Prabhupada said Krishna can do anything. He's unlimited. He gave the Pandavas the whole world in 18 days. He could give you the whole world. But we can't even keep a few places functional and you know, clean and hospitable. So why would Krishna give us the whole world? We would just make fools of ourselves, right? It's hard enough to manage our own little place that we got right now. So depending on our surrender, Krishna will increase our capacity. Yes, Tirodata Prabhu. Do we have a timeline here, or what is?
Yeah, that's what you.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
You mentioned in London we don't know who we're talking to, and it can have a very broad effect. If somebody who's, you know, very well-to-do, he comes before you and you give him a book and leave a good impression, and he goes. How can we, how do we expedite that and try and actually help somebody? Because we, as you said, we never know who that person is, and who do you choose and who do you spend your time with?
Well, if the task is too big, there's too many people out there, you can't possibly meet everybody and talk to everybody. So you need a team. You have to actually create a team. And yes, it's wonderful. We have our 6, 7, 8 brahmacharis, and it's beautiful. It's amazing. We should have 600 or 700 of them. But what about the other 99.9% of our population? So if I go out with a mindset, I'm just looking for that celibate monk, we'll miss out on the vast majority. But if we see that everyone can do devotional service, everyone can do bhakti, everyone has an opportunity, then we have broader scope for having impact, for having an audience. Otherwise, we're too selective. We're just looking for one particular kind. And that means that we have to invest. We have to invest into our congregation. We have to invest into our congregation. These are not just the invisibles who show up once or twice a year and make sure the lights stay on. But if we don't have a congregation, then we don't really have impact. Because, as they say in Italy, a good church does not make the Vatican. You know, you have a nice pastor, you have a nice guru, you have a nice temple, a nice project somewhere, but it doesn't equal the Vatican. What are they doing in the Vatican? They're training priests to take care of congregations. So we should be doing the same thing. Prabhupada said, you study the Catholic Church. They've been around for 2,000 years. You can see what went right and what went wrong. Because we don't live long enough to make all the stupid mistakes we can make. So, and it is proven sociologically that you can't interact productively with more than 150 people. Because it's just not possible. It's beyond. You may say, I got this many followers, but look around you. There's no one there. At the end of the day, it's you and Krishna. So, how many disciples did Jesus have? Abdullah? 12. And not all of them were so good, you know. Some were kind of not so great. Others did something. But, you know, 2,000 years later, something happened. The majority of the planet is calling themselves Christian. He had impact. Why? He focused on a few. He tried to train them well. He tried to give them as much as he could. And then he empowered them. And he served them. And he was happy to be part of Krishna's plan. So we should do the same thing, right? Or else we will create a little group of people who declare us as something very extraordinary, but it will be very short-lived. It will not have lasting impact. It will not really gain momentum. So parampara is the eternal principle of Krishna's way of disseminating knowledge, and we should align ourselves with Krishna's plan and not trying to obstruct. My older brother Harinamananda Prabhu used to say when he was asked, what is your secret for Sankirtan? What is your secret for doing so huge? He said, you just got to step out of the center and let Krishna do the magic. You just got to step out of the center and let Krishna do the magic. Can you do that? Then you will be part of Krishna's magic. You will witness the magic unfold. And you will see people who become mesmerized, who are more Krishna conscious in that moment when you see them than you are. Have you noticed how shocking that is? Yesterday we met a man. He came straight out of office, you know, walked up to Abdullah, you know, the guy was glowing, right? He was saying, Mala, 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 I'm just Mala, you know, Mala, Mala, I'm just chanting, you know, Mala, Mala. And yeah, I sponsor a set, and now I got to go back to work, you know. Good job, boys, good job. Mala, Mala, I got to chant, you know. And he took off. We don't know who he is. We don't know where he came from. But that guy was more Krishna conscious than the three of us put together. He was in the zone. So if we can appreciate other people's success and be their servant, then Paramvijayate Sri Krishna Sankirtan. Even if you're the water boy, even if you clean the shoes, because the team is a success. It's already declared by Mahaprabhu himself. And if I am part of that team, well, voila, there you are. But if you think, I did it my way, I need to have my own little franchise, my own little shop inside the shop. I need to do things, you know, everyone has to take care of themselves, right? Then it won't really be Paramvijayate Sri Krishna Sankirtan. Again, there is balance between individuality and the common good, and that balance is created through this Sankirtan yoga. You've heard of Sankirtan yoga, the highest form of yoga? I meet these young kids on the street sometimes, you know, like these wannabes, these little, you know, these tough kids. When the boys are out, you know, and they're all running around and doing the rah-rah thing. You know, right? You've seen. It even goes on in temples sometimes. So then I meet them, and I see there's nothing you can say to impress them because it's just too much noise in the head, right? There's just too much going on, too much passion. So I say, we're monks. You heard of monks? You know, we meditation and also martial arts. They say, what, you do martial arts? You know, you teach martial arts? What kind of martial arts? I say, Sankirtan, full contact. And they go, wow. But you can't smile, you know, you have to keep a straight face. Otherwise they're not impressed. So anyway, Grantha Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Srila Prabhupada ki, Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki, Nitai Gaur Premanande. Navina Nirada ki.
Hare Krishna, dear devotees, we have some book scores from yesterday, the 18th of September. For the pleasure of their Lordship, Shri Shri Radharandanishvara, Shri Shri Jagannath Baladeva Subhadra Maharani, Shri Shri Gauranitai, Shri Giriraj Maharaj, and for the pleasure of Srila Prabhupada, yesterday we distributed a total of 66 small books, 135 medium books, 23 big books, 44 Maha big books, 15 Arabic books, 16 Srimad Bhagavatam sets, for a total of 2,979 Lakshmi points. And also yesterday marked the end of the Bhadra campaign. And I'm glad to announce that we distributed a total of 264 Srimad Bhagavatam sets. We smashed our goal of 230 sets. So thank you to all the devotees who participated, sponsoring, distributing, and sharing the mercy with everyone.
What's next?
Next is Live to Give, and there will be more announcements coming soon. There will be more announcements coming soon. Harinam Sankirtan Yagya ki. Srila Prabhupada ki.
Jai. Jai. Jai.